The day before Israel began its attack on the Iranian nuclear sites, I posted, please pray, it looks like Israel's going to bomb Iran's nuclear sites tomorrow. A lot of people asked me how I knew, so I made a video the other day, Wednesday, Catholics are not pacifists and why war is imminent. And I took off the part why war is imminent the next day because I realized I was getting a lot of young people scared. But in that video, I said, it looks like we are going to attack their nuclear facilities that Iran can't get to, and the main one being Fordo. So that was on Wednesday. I said, it looks like we're going to do it Thursday or Friday. I missed that one by a day. That happened Saturday, yesterday. But in all honesty, I forgot to account for the 7-hour time difference between DC and Tehran. So if you want to know how I know these things, I'm no prophet, far from it. I'm no Middle Eastern expert, far from it. But if you want to know, watch the video, Catholics Aren't Pacifists. But there's enough for me to talk about here. I'm not going to go into all that detail. So the Bible tells us in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, there's a time to kill and there's a time to heal. There's a time for war and there's a time for peace. I'm going to tell you guys why I believe us bombing these nuclear sites is going to give us a time of peace in the Middle East. Now, I know this is an extremely unpopular position on YouTube, so I'm going to go over all the common objections I get when I say things like this. But first, I want to go over a few things so you know where I'm coming from. The two factions that are against this strike, you have the liberals on the Democrat side that see everybody as nice, Everybody's nice. We can negotiate. We can have peace. They'll try to appease them. Let's talk more. Then you have the libertarians on the Republican side that know that, no, these aren't nice people. These are terrorists. But it's none of our business. If Iran gets a nuke, that's their business. Like literally, I've heard Ron Paul, like the leading libertarian in American politics in my lifetime, Ron Paul, who I agree with him on economics and social issues, but foreign policy issues, he's just unbelievably wrong. But Ron Paul, and this is what libertarians generally believe, that America shouldn't get involved in any foreign affairs. It's none of our business if Iran gets a nuke. It's none of our business if Iran nukes Israel. We get involved if Iran tries to nuke us. Like, this is literally their position. They're called isolationists. Okay, so this is where all the main objections are coming from: the liberals and the libertarians. The conservative Republicans are down with this, and I'm going to tell you why. Well, we need to go back in history. In the 1970s, I was going to show you a video, but I really don't have time for that. I'm getting ready for Mass here in a few minutes. In the 1970s, Iran was a pretty free democracy. You can see videos of women walking around in pants and skirts, no hijab, they weren't covered. They're talking to men. Now in Iran, if they go out uncovered, they get beaten. If they're talking to someone that isn't a family member, they get beaten. If they're not escorted, they get beaten. So what happened? In 1979, the fundamentalist Muslim extremists took over. And right after that, they took, I think it was 61 American hostages and held them for 444 days. And the war began. They started chanting, "Death to America, death to America." And even today, as recently as a couple weeks ago, and for the past, since 1979, the Iranian leadership, their government has said, "Death to America isn't only our slogan, it's our policy." So they declared war on us many years ago. 1983, they ordered one of their terrorist proxies, Hezbollah, to send in a suicide bomber. This is a death cult. They think if they die, they're going to be with little virgins in heaven, if they blow themselves up for Allah. These people are lunatics. So this death cult, this Iranian government sent their Hezbollah proxies to drive a suicide truck into a United States Marine Corps barracks in Beirut, 1983, killing 241 young Marines. And our Marines didn't even have the weapons loaded because we wanted to show that we weren't meanies, I guess. So every president since that time has said we will not allow Iran to get a nuke because we know these people are irrational actors, and they already told us they want to kill Americans. They hate America. They hate America because they hate freedom and they hate life. And they know America was founded on life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. They hate America because they think we're all Christians, and that makes us infidels. They hate us, and they believe it's not only their right, it's their duty to kill every one of us. But we're way stronger, so they just kill us here and there. I think since 1980, they've killed over 1,000 Americans through their proxies and through their Iranian Republican Guard. So they have been at war with us for a long time. President Obama, for 8 years, tried to get them not to build a bomb. He negotiated with them. He appeased them. He played that nice thing that liberals do. He gave them billions and billions of dollars. And the Atomic Energy Agency, who's no friend to America and no friend to Israel, said they violated every terms of Obama's agreement. They were getting closer to a nuclear weapon because they wouldn't let inspectors go in and see. They used to say, take our word for it. And the money that Obama was giving them, literally billions of dollars, they were given to their proxies, the Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, the Islamic jihadists. And Obama said, Iran is the #1 sponsor of terrorism, but our main goal is to get them not to get a bomb. So their intention was good, but their method failed miserably. Trump comes in and says, I'm going to do the opposite. We're going to break you financially. We're going to make you so broke, you're going to beg us for a deal. They had no money to give to their terrorist friends. So terrorism actually went down under Trump. And they were getting to the point where they were going to tap out. And then Biden comes in and he doubles down on stupidity. He doubles down on Obama's failed plan and gives them even more money. And they just fund more terrorism. The Houthis, during Biden's presidency, the Houthis attacked American bases. I think it's something like 40 times, killing Americans, injuring dozens of American soldiers with no response from Biden because he didn't want to jeopardize this deal with Iran not getting a nuclear weapon. It failed so miserably when Trump came in January. The Atomic Energy Agency, like I said, no friend of America, no friend of Israel, said they're like within months of having enough enriched uranium to get a nuclear bomb. So Trump said, you got 60 days. Israel wants to take them out. He said, no, don't take them out. We're going to try and do this peacefully. He gave them 60 days. He said, listen, we can make you prosperous. We can do trade deals with everybody. Everything would be great, but you gotta dismantle this program. They refused, so on the 61st day, he allowed Israel to attack their sites. People say, I usually forget stuff, so I'm looking at notes today. But during those 60 days, Trump didn't just sit idly down. Those 60 days of negotiation, he had our best negotiations, really trying to get a deal, really good negotiators, really trying to get a deal. But as usual, the Iranians were just stringing us along, like they strung Biden along, like they strung Obama along. They weren't really interested in a deal. It was a delay tactic, delay till it was too late, delay till it was too late. But Trump just didn't sit around, on a beach in Maryland eating ice cream. He went to the Middle East and he made trade deals with the biggest players in the Middle East. The media was shocked at these great deals we got for America with Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, all the major players. And they were even more shocked how much support and love these Middle Eastern countries showed, because they're no friends of Iran either. Iran is isolated. The only friend they had were the terrorist groups, which over the past year and a half, Israel has decimated, and Russia, which they're so broke trying to fight the Ukraine war, they can't help them. And China, which China is begging us for a better deal, so they're hurting financially, so they can't help them. So Iran is isolated. You know, all these fearmongers saying this is going to lead to World War III, they have no idea of geopolitical politics. They have no idea what's going on. This is not going to lead to World War III. This is going to lead to peace, in my humble opinion. So during this whole time, Trump is making deals, you know? And so there's nobody on the side of Iran. In fact, when Iran was shooting missiles at Israel, Jordan were shooting them down. You know? Iran has no friend in the Middle East. All the friends they had were these little terrorist groups, and they've been decimated because after Biden gave Iran like $7 billion, they funded the Hamas savages to attack on October 7th. And that was another attack on Americans. Not only did Israelis get butchered and killed and tortured and taken hostages, like 60 Americans were killed. A bunch of Americans were taken hostages. So again, that was Iran declaring war on us. We've been at war with them. This isn't new. We just started fighting back. So I'm going to get to the objections I hear commonly in the comments when I support this. Number one, I voted for Trump because he was an anti-war president. During his first term, he signed the Abraham Accords, you know, all these peace deals in the Middle East. He prevented Russia from invading Ukraine, and he was the first president in 30 years not to start a new war. Amen. This is all true. But if you listen to Trump, since 2015, 10 years, he's been saying, there is no way I'm going to let Iran get a nuke. There is no way. We can do this in a nice way. We can make them very prosperous and they can abandon their nuclear program. Or we could do it in a hard way and bomb the crap out of them. It's the choice is ours. So he's been saying this for 10 years. So he hasn't gone back on that. Well, he gave him 2 weeks and then he attacked in 2 days. Well, any military man will tell you the element of surprise is the greatest factor in war. You don't tell your enemy when you're going to attack them. Like even I was in the Navy, but I had some Marines teach me World War II, Marine Corps, close quarter combat, Marine Raider combat. And it was every sequence was a surprise. Like, hey, I want no trouble. Bam! Smash him in the face, ear box him, knee him in the groin. You know, we don't stand there like this. Okay, come on. You don't let them know, hey, I don't want no trouble. Bam. Or listen, I don't want no trouble. Boom. Throat strike to the Adam's apple. This is how if you're going to fight, you have to fight to win. We try not to fight. Trump was the most anti-war president in my lifetime. He's trying not to fight. But once you commit to fight, you have to unleash violence. And you have to do it fast and swift. If you drag it out, you get a quagmire like Vietnam. And innocent people die. Have to be quick. Boom. Get it done. I mean, we all want peace. But sometimes there's a time for war. Another objection. Well, how could they negotiate while Israel's attacking them? Well, they had 12 years of negotiation under Obama and Biden. And they had 60 days under Trump. You know, sometimes you're talking to someone, and they're still doing the wrong thing. You got to get them in a chokehold and get them to tap out. You know, you got to apply pressure. We tried the economic pressure. It wasn't working this time. And why wasn't it working this time? Because Obama left the Middle East situation FUBAR. And if you're a veteran, you know what FUBAR is. If you're not, it means effing beyond all recognition. He screwed up the Middle East so bad that we only had months now. We only had months. Just like he left the economy so bad. So we got to take our medicine before we can heal from the horrible economy Biden left us. He was the absolute worst president ever in the history of America. But I'm going to stick to this topic. So he left Trump FUBAR. We didn't have time. The Atomic Energy Agency, who are, again, no friend of America, no friend of Israel, told Trump they were months away in January. And then before Israel attacked, they told him they were a week away from getting enough enriched uranium to build 9 nuclear bombs. It wasn't they're going to build it in a week, but they would have enough to start. And they had this underground facility in Fordo that we needed to hit because Israel didn't have the capability of taking it out. So then another objection. Oh, well, we shouldn't start a war. You know that's unjust in the just war theory. That's unjust to start a war. Well, when the saints in the past talked about just war, they didn't know about nuclear weapons. So the libertarians are saying, well, we shouldn't get engaged in a war. We shouldn't do preemptive strikes. We should wait for Iran to shoot a nuke at us. Then we can have war. This is their theory, you know. Regime change never works. Really? Tell that to Germany. When we got rid of the German Nazi, like we're getting rid of the Middle Eastern Nazis, regime change worked very well in Germany. In fact, it worked in Panama under Ronald Reagan. It worked in Grenada under Ronald Reagan. Iraq, we've had fair, it's not great, but it's better than it was under dictator Saddam Hussein. And Afghanistan was doing pretty good until Joe Biden's incompetent withdrawal of Afghanistan. So I don't know. The biggest critic of Donald Trump right now is Tucker Carlson. But I remember, I'm old enough to remember, at the start of the Iraq War, Tucker was all in. He sold us on the Iraq War. And Donald Trump said it was dumb. Donald Trump never supported the Iraq War because he knew it was going to be a long, drawn-out quagmire. This is something different. This is limited strikes to eliminate their nukes. They're not even talking about regime change. That's not the goal. If it happens, it's going to be because the people in Iran want to get back to where it was in the 1970s. There's a lot of young people that hate this regime. They don't like being under this Islamic extremist regime. They see videos of the 70s, what it was like. They want to get back to being free. So if there is a regime change, it's going to be because they're so weakened by the attacks that their people are going to uprise. And that would be a great thing if they got democracy in Iran. And I'm just going to end with this, Blessed are the peacemakers. We want peace, but sometimes good men have to stand up and fight to defeat evil men. Evil can only exist if good men do nothing. It's a quote from somebody famous. But there is some good men, devout Catholics. I made a video about the real Rambo. Oh, check it out. It's a short video. An amazing story of Sergeant Roy Benavidez, a Green Beret in Vietnam, that was shot up, stabbed, and still kept fighting and saved like 12 men. Got the Medal of Honor. I made another video about Navy SEAL Michael Mansour, who when a hand grenade hit him and fell, he had time to think about it and run away, probably survive, but he knew that his SEAL teammates and his Iraqi counterparts would be killed. So he dove. The Bible says there's no greater love than this, that a man lay down his life for his friend. He dove on that hand grenade. And I think he was 25 years old, gave his life for his friends. Roy Benavidez says he prayed the rosary every day during Vietnam, went to daily mass when he could. Another devout Catholic. I could go on and on about devout Catholics who served honorably in the military. We had 7 Catholic priests serving as military chaplains received the Medal of Honor, and 2 of them are on their way to sainthood. So yes, we want peace, but we're not pacifists and we're not cowards. We have to stand up to evil, because if America doesn't stand up to evil, evil will win. God bless and stay Catholic.